What's going on, everybody? Welcome to season 6 of Cafe and Views, where we're going to Los Feliz and we're trying out their best coffees. Today, we went to Dinosaur Coffee to try out their Cardamom Cinnamon Cappuccino. Dinosaur Coffee is located at 4334 West Sunset Boulevard in Los Feliz, California. Let's talk about the coffee shop. So the overall look of the coffee shop is pretty dope. The inside doesn't really give off that kind of new school coffee shop. It still maintains that old coffee shop look that I enjoy. But the outside, it's pretty busy. There's a lot of cars driving around. So if you're outside enjoying the coffee, it's gonna get pretty busy. It's gonna get pretty loud. So you're better off enjoying the coffee on the inside. But on the inside, you do get ample amount of seating. There are 3 tables that you can sit at, and there's also benches by the windows that you can sit at. Their coffee menu is pretty extensive. They have a lot of coffees to choose from, and they also have a lot of teas to choose from if you don't want to get coffee. And then they also have other goodies on their menu, that's what it's called. So it's just basically other drinks that are not teas or coffees. And they do have a few snacks to choose from. They don't really have any menus to eat real food, but they do have bakery goods. And the overall atmosphere of the coffee shop is pretty dope, like I mentioned. It just gives off that nice aesthetic value, nice aesthetic vibe. It doesn't make it look like you're at a Starbucks or a Dunkin, a kind of one-dimensional coffee shop. You're gonna wanna be at this coffee shop enjoying the coffee on a Saturday morning like today. For the overall coffee shop look, I'm gonna put this at about a 3.5 out of 5. Let's talk about Aroma. It doesn't smell sweet at all. That huge coffee smell. You don't get any added sugars. You don't get any other additives. You get that straight coffee smell, but it is giving me a sour vibe to it. It's not sweet at all. The aroma does smell sour, but it's pretty mellow. It is sour, but it is mellow. It's not sharp like a super sour smell might be, like kind of like a bitter milk smell. It is pretty pleasant when you're smelling it. It's not as pleasant as other coffees that might have a specific note to them, like vanilla, hazelnut. And I'm also not picking up that huge cinnamon smell to it. I wish that the cinnamon was a little bit more amped up and a little bit more pronounced. And like I mentioned, I'm only getting that coffee smell. The cinnamon is not being pronounced. The cardamom is also not being that pronounced. I'm just getting that super coffee smell. It's kind of in the middle in terms of attracting me for more. I do like the smell, but not enough to just keep going back and stop what I'm doing. It is super prominent where I'm able to get a slight taste of it just by smelling it. I am getting those taste buds just based off smelling it, but not quite as much as other coffees. For aroma, I'm putting this at about a 3 out of 5. Let's talk about acidity. The coffee does maintain that sourness all throughout the coffee. It doesn't become sweet at any point. Even from the beginning to the end, it's still maintaining that same kind of consistent sourness. Being mellow and tame. It's not super sour to the point where it's going to be sharp and kind of in your face. It's that perfect amount of sour where it's just going to mellow you out while you're drinking the coffee. I like sweetness to be right at the middle point, and this coffee is just below it, but it's okay because of that cardamom, because of that cinnamon that you're getting in the coffee. It's amplifying and enhancing the flavor to a new level that the coffee didn't have if it didn't have those spices in it. You might think that the coffee being sour is going to wash out the flavor, but it's actually the opposite of that. It's actually enhancing it and making it better than it was before. If it was a little bit more sweet, then it would take away from the coffee taste and it would take away from the spices added to it. But because it's a little bit sour, it's amplifying it and enhancing it, so you're able to fully enjoy that real, true coffee taste. So for acidity, I'm putting this at a 3.5 out of 5. Let's talk about flavor. Okay, so the flavor is what I'm getting, that huge burst of sensation that I'm not getting in the aroma. The flavor is packing a huge punch in that small amount of cup. That's where you're getting that real cinnamon and that real cardamom taste in addition to the coffee taste. So for the aroma, you're getting just that one-dimensional sensation. With the coffee, you're getting 3 sensations. You're getting the cardamom, the cinnamon, and you're getting the coffee. And it's super pleasant. It makes me want to go back and keep drinking it. And I'm also getting spicy notes from it just because of the cardamom and the cinnamon. So it is a spicy cacao-y type of coffee. But all 3 aspects are balanced perfectly because nothing is being more pronounced. The cinnamon is not overly spicy, the cardamom is not overly spicy, and the coffee is not super sour to the point where it takes away from the flavor of both the spices. And the aroma is getting bumped up because of the flavor being more pronounced. It's helping the aroma out a whole lot. Perfect on a cooler day like today where it's a little bit windy and the cacao is gonna make you feel a little bit more warm, and also the cinnamon and the cardamom is gonna make you feel warm as well. but there is slight sourness to it that makes the flavor different, as opposed to if the coffee were to be sweet and have the same type of flavors. Because it's sour, it's making it even better. Because being sweet, it might be a little bit too much. So being sour, it's kind of toning down the highness of it. And the coffee's not really changing from the beginning to the end. It's still maintaining that same type of sensation. So it's not becoming sweet. The cardamom and cinnamon are not making it more sour as well. And you are able to figure out the cinnamon off the flavor, not off the aroma, because it's one-dimensional, but you are able to figure out the cinnamon and the cardamom based off the flavor, because it's that balanced. And everything comes together real well, real perfect to create that nice sensation of coffee that you're gonna enjoy on a Saturday morning. For flavor, I'm putting this at a 4 out of 5. So let's talk about body. So the mouthfeel of this coffee is there. It's definitely rich, thick, creamy, and foamy. It's going to stay around in your mouth for a long time. It's definitely not a coffee that is going to be water-like consistency where you're not really feeling anything in your mouth. It's just like drinking water. But this coffee, there's a sense of fullness in your mouth. The cinnamon in this coffee kind of gives it a unique type of texture, as opposed to just a creamy coffee. You get a little bit of that spiciness to it, so a little bit of a gritty texture to it, in addition to the creaminess of the coffee. And since it's creamy and it's full and thick, it's going to provide a nice weight on your tongue. It's going to feel like there's a whole mouthful in your mouth, even though you're taking maybe a small sip. So it's going to fill up your mouth in a big way, and it does rest on your tongue. It is going to coat it and linger for a long while, and it's not going to dissipate quickly. It's going to stick around. So even during the coffee experience, the sensation is going to be there, and then even after an aftertaste, you're still going to get the remnants of the coffee as well. And the coffee is not changing from the beginning to the end, so it's still maintaining that same type of texture and consistency, and the flavor and the aroma is still there. Nothing is changing, so it's definitely a good sign when it comes to coffee, is when it stays consistent, so you know that you're going to get the same type of experience from the beginning to the end. And with the flavors, the cinnamon, the cardamom, the coffee, it's all staying consistent. The cinnamon is not becoming more spicy, and the cardamom is not being any more spicy as well. And then the coffee is still maintaining that nice, rich, full flavor and aroma. And it is providing your mouth with a nice, wet sensation. Even though it's sort of a sour coffee, it's not going to dry your mouth like an espresso might. This coffee is packed full of flavor, even though it's a little bit more on the sour side. And the only lingering flavor that I'm getting is that coffee, and maybe a little bit of that cinnamon and slight cardamom, but it's not really being more prominent in the aftertaste than in the beginning of the coffee. You're probably getting more of that flavor in the beginning, and in the aftertaste, it's slowly dying down, but you're still getting that full, rich flavor because the cardamom and the cinnamon is adding to the coffee. For body, I'm giving this at a 4.5 out of 5. Complexity. So the coffee is not super complex, but it is giving me that slight complex value because of the cardamom and the cinnamon on top of the coffee. So I haven't had those combinations yet, but the look of the coffee is also pretty complex because they do give you coffee art. They did put a heart in the coffee. So this is the second time that I've gotten a coffee that actually had some sort of design on the coffee. And the taste is also kind of a little bit complex because of that sour sensation, because of the cardamom and the cinnamon adding to the sourness of the coffee to make it to that perfect amount. And then the coffee cup also has branding on it, so that's a really big deal for me. You're able to see where you got the coffee from, so you're able to remember next time that you got the coffee from here as opposed to just a normal cup. Even if it's a small cup, it still deserves branding. I could see myself drinking this coffee in the morning at any type of weather, any type of day of the week. It's not super complex to the point where I want to save this coffee for a special occasion. This coffee is minimal, but it's also complex. It's literally so versatile that you can take this coffee just about anywhere, to the office, to a hike, for a walk, for a drive, literally anything, because it's that good, but it's not gonna make you want to save it for just a Saturday or just a Sunday. This is definitely a good pick-me-up for any type of day. For complexity, I'm gonna put this coffee at about a 4 out of 5. All in all, the Cardamom Cinnamon Cappuccino got a 76% out of 100. Thank you so much for watching Cafe and Views, where we went to Dinosaur Coffee. Tune in next week to see where we're going next. Peace.